reality we make as a permanent gratification. So in other words, we are seeking gratification when we talk about self-fulfillment. And instead of saying, I want to help you in order to gratify myself, which would be too crude and we are too subtle for that, we say, I want to serve you. I want to help you. And when you are prevented, I feel lost, I feel frustrated, angry, irritated. Under the guise of help, service, we do a lot of monstrous things. Deceptions, illusions. Therefore, those words need examination, like self-fulfillment, like help, like service. And when we really understand it, not just verbally, deeply, profoundly, then we will help without asking anything in return. And such help will never be misrepresented. Even if it is, it doesn't matter. There is no sense of frustration, sense of anger, criticism, gossip. What is aloneness? Is it a mystical state? Does it imply freeing oneself from relationship? Is aloneness a way to understanding? Or is it an escape from outward conflict and inward pressures? What is aloneness? Is it a mystical state? Does it imply freeing oneself from relationship? Is aloneness a way to understanding? Or is it an escape from outward conflict and inward pressure? Do not most of us, or not most of us, trying to isolate ourselves in relationship? We try to possess people. We try to dominate people, which is a form of isolation, is it not? Our beliefs, our ideas are a form of isolation. When we withdraw, when we renounce, it's a form of isolation, is it not? The inward pressures and outward conflicts force us to protect ourselves, to enclose ourselves. That's a form of isolation, is it not? And through isolation, can there be any understanding? Do I understand you if I resist you? If I enclose myself with my ideas, with my prejudices, of my criticism of you and so on, so on? I can understand you only when I am not isolated, when there is no barrier between us, either verbal or psychological states of moods and idiosyncrasies. But to understand, I must be alone, mustn't I? Alone in the sense unenclosed, uninfluenced. Most of us are put together, made up of memories, of idiosyncrasies, of prejudices, of innumerable influences. And through all that we try to understand something. How can there be understanding when we are things produced, brought together, made up. And when there is a freedom from that, there is an aloneness, which is not an escape. On the contrary, it's the understanding of all these things that bring about an aloneness, with which you meet directly, life. If we are a mass of opinion, beliefs, when we are put together, we think we are an integrated being. Or we try to seek integration with all these burdens. Surely there can be only integration. Not only at the superficial level, but completely, right through. When there is a freedom from all these through understanding, not merely throwing them aside, but really understanding all the influences that are constantly impinging upon one, the beliefs, the memories, the idiosyncrasies and so on, then as one begins to understand these, there is an aloneness which is not contradiction, which is not an opposite of the collective or the individual. If you would understand something, aren't you alone? Aren't you completely integrated at that moment? Is not your attention completely given? And through withdrawal, can there be any understanding? Through resistance, can there be any understanding? When you renounce something, does that bring understanding? Surely understanding comes not through resistance, not through withdrawal, not through renunciation. Only when you understand, when there is the full, when you understand the full significance of a problem, then the problem disappears. You don't have to renounce it. You don't have to renounce wealth, certain obvious greeds. But when you are capable of looking at it directly, without any criticism, passively aware of it, it drops away from you. And in that state of passive awareness, is there not complete attention, not as an opposite, exclusive concentration? It is not an exclusive concentration. It's an awareness in which there is no contradiction. Therefore, loneliness disappears. Most of us are lonely. Most of us are single. There is no depth. We come to an end very quickly. And it is this loneliness that creates the withdrawals, the escapes, the covering up. And if we would understand that loneliness, we must discard all these coverings and be with it. It is that being is alone. Then you are uninfluenced. Then you are not caught with moods. And it is essential to be alone, which most of us dread. We never go out, hardly ever by ourselves. the radio, the magazine, the newspapers, the books. Or if we haven't that, we are occupied with our own thoughts. The mind is never quiet. It is this quietness that is alone. That aloneness is not induced. It is not made up. When there is a lot of noise and you are silent, it is alone, is it not? You must be alone. If you are a success, then there's something obviously wrong. Whereas most of us seek success. And that's why we're never alone. We are lonely, but we're never alone. It's only when there is aloneness, then you can meet that which is true, which has no comparison. And as most of us are afraid to be alone, we build various refuges, various safeties, various escapes, and give them big sounding names. They offer marvelous escapes. But they are all illusions. They have no significance. It's only when we see that they have no significance, actually not verbally, then you are alone. Then the alone can go, can really understand. Which means that we have to strip ourselves of all the past experience. Of memories, of sensations which we have built so sedulously and we guard so carefully. Surely an unconditioned mind can only understand that which is unconditioned, reality. And to uncondition the mind, one must face not only loneliness, but go beyond. Not hold on to memories that are crowding in. For memories are mere words. Words that have sensations. It's only then when the mind is utterly quiet, uninfluenced, then is it possible for it to realize that which is.